As we mentioned at the end of the last video, Dylos is Onyx's effects engine, but for pixel maps, and it's really stinking cool. It could do so much, and we're gonna try to scratch the surface in a video here, show you the basics of getting started, and then we have a lot more inside of our premium courses inside of Learn Stage Lighting Labs. So you definitely want to check that out if you want to shortcut your way to knowing this stuff in depth. We always keep them up to date with the latest Onyx versions. But the basics will get you started, will get you going. Essentially, pixel mapping, if you're not familiar, is playing media, usually video, but we're going to call it media here, and doing that across your lighting. So you take your lighting, and the start here is building a 2D plan, which I know we didn't cover in these tutorials, but we have older tutorials. We can link one below on building your 2D plan. There's one built into the sample file already. So you've got a canvas here that you add to your 2D plan. Okay. And we've got other tutorials on that, but you just literally go edit, add, zone fixtures, new, replace an existing that you deleted, hit place, drag it out, get out of edit mode, and it'll be there. So you can build these zones across any of your 2D plans and then play back literally media across it. So let's walk through how that works. Okay, I've got lights up already doing stuff on stage, and this is a really key first step because your Dylos zone acts like a lighting fixture or another media server. It has an intensity, and that is the fade in and fade out for that zone. So you can store, it works just like anything else in Onyx. So a pro tip here is to store that intensity for your zone and just store that in as an override. Right, so we're just gonna store that in as an override. I'm gonna clear. And now I can just bring this fader up and down. Oops. And it controls my intensity of my Dylos zone. You'll notice when you bring in Dylos, it fades out your regular parameters. So it's kind of a layer on top of your regular parameters that you can fade in and out at varying percentages at will. For a lot of cues, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have my intensity fader and I'm gonna have my cue happening in the background, but you can, I'll set things up and then bring in the intensity. You can do this in a theatrical style cue stack, in a church service, etc., or do it live and on the fly, where in a live show, I typically have stuff, media, running in Dylos in the background all the time, 100% of the time. And then I bring up that intensity when I want to use it. So how do we use it? Well, the first thing you've got to do is you do need to install your media from support.obsidiancontrol.com. It's on the same download page as Onyx. There's some big old files. Download and install that media into the media library. You can also bring in your own media, which we're not going to cover here, but it's pretty simple. Another thing you'll want to do while we're here is we're going to do some input sources. So input sources allow you to do things like BPM from audio, which can be really helpful. So I'm just going to right click or press edit on a console and press my input source. Okay. And then I have all of these different options here. So they could be all sorts of things. Things like video over NDI, VU meters, audio. In this case, we're just going to do a beat provider. So that's a beat. And I choose my input slot and I go to my audio. And then I see, my microphone is here on channels 1 and 2 because that's just my main output of this console. And I press OK. And now I have that audio. It's going to bring BPM off that audio as long as I have a beat, which of course with spoken word is not the easiest thing. But if we clap, we should be able to see a BPM. You can see there, I'm not overly musical, so it's not great at finding the BPM, but with real music, it does a better job. You can also do here other different BPMs. So for example, you can do a beat provider, and then you can do a tap tempo, okay? So it tells you right here, allows you to tap tempo. Perfect. So we've got that going. You can see that adjusts our BPM as we go. Allows us to work with it. There's a lot of depth there, but this is just, we're covering the basics in this video. So we've got this up, and now what we want to do is we want to choose media. So there's lots of media in here. Note that media that has alpha in it is going to see through to the below output. So that's kind of interesting. So I can literally select here. Again, I use this tooltip, or I can come down here into my library and I can look at different media and have it on my lights, and you see the lights do exactly what the media is doing. Really stinking cool, okay? There's a lot more to it though. So say we go with a actual video file, okay? You can see now that video is playing dynamically across my lights. I can bring it in just a little bit, or I can bring it in a lot and have it affect it fully, according to my intensity, which I had put on the fader, but now I also have active in my queue. Be careful about that. One of the big benefits of Dylos, the video is cool, but what can get really interesting just in a busking or a live lighting situation are the generators. And the reason why the generators are cool is because they can have alpha in them, meaning that they have no background. So in this case, like I just like to go to this one a lot of times, okay? And you can see now the background has these boxes, meaning it's alpha, it's transparent. And so if I then go to my layers, because my zone has the alpha set to turn it into non-transparent. So if I go ahead and I then go ahead and just go to my layer and I go to the opacity, which is, it used to be over here, but now it hides. Now it's here on channels. My opacity on the zone right now is 100%. If I kick that to 0%, it now sees through to the lighting rig below. So that to me is really cool because then I can go, for example, I can color it. Say I color my source and I color that a color, maybe it's red. Now I've got this really awesome just red bump that across all types, across all fixtures, using the map, using the 2D plan, the 2D representation of my lighting rig is now playing in effect in that 2D space. In order to do this with a regular effect on most consoles, you would have to do a crazy selection where you'd be like, okay, select the center one of this fixture, then the center of that fixture, then the next one of this fixture, next one of that fixture, and then you'd be going out to both sides. It actually would take a lot of work, or you'd run a mirror effect, but the two groups might not sync up, or if they're spaced differently, for example, you have 6 of one fixture and 20 of the other, it would never work right. With this, it works right every time because it's using the pixel map. And so that's kind of the basics of it. The cool thing about Dylos is it essentially uses everything underlying that you already know in Onyx. So I can go ahead, for example, I mentioned rate, so I can set it to the beat, and then I can tap that beat here, right? I think I can I override it? Yeah. So if I go to 80, I can go ahead and apply that. Bring that in, so have that ready to go. And it's going to follow that BPM for the rate of the effect, excuse me. And so it's really cool, really awesome that you're able to have that move in accordance with the speed of your music, whether it's grabbing it from the audio itself, whether it's using a BPM, etc. It gets even crazier if you dive deeper. And as I mentioned, we have more tutorials inside of our Learn Stage Lighting Labs as well. And you definitely want to check that out if you want to go deeper with Dylos, which if you're running lights live to music in Onyx, you definitely want to do. So check it out. You can start for $1. If you liked these, then you'll love the tutorials there because they go deeper and you can ask us questions and we answer. And we love to help, but we can't help everybody for free. So if you like that, awesome. If you don't need help, but you just need to buy some more gear, whether it be audio, video, lighting, Onyx or not, hey, Above AVL is your place, and we're the people that brought you these videos that you got for free, that you get to learn from for free. And so we would love to be able to help you get a personalized price on anything you need through our site. And then you also help support making of these videos and more. How awesome is that? Head over to Above AVL, add some stuff to your cart, request a quote. We'd love to help. Thanks so much. See ya.